We're going live. Let people come in. The YouTube starting up. All right. What's up, Colin? What's up? Hey, everybody. Um, so today I'll kind of let people kind of join in and hey, Tracy, nice to see you. Only on I was only on Instagram last week. I'm still like dealing with some stuff. I haven't been feeling good. I've been feeling a little run down, but I'm here. It's on YouTube now. I don't know why I didn't just throw it up on YouTube last week, but uh whatever, it doesn't matter. But hey Tyler, what's up? I'm doing all right. Do I look like tired and stuff? I hope not. I'll try to keep my energy up, but I'm feeling a little run down. But I wanted to discuss today not necessarily a specific 2-5, but I think something that's very relevant to what we do as musicians. And I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on transposition. So transposing all the 2-5s that you know that you're hearing, whether it be from me or from other people that are submitting them, or that you're transcribing from the masters. So I wanted to talk about transposing. um, I'll tell you kind of the way that I've been doing it, but I also want to share thoughts on other ways that it can be done, because I don't think there's like one way that's the end all be all way. So let's dive right into that. And so the example I'm going to give is actually technically like it can be a 2-5, like it is a fits in a 2-5, but I want you to first focus on the sound of it. Um, and I'll play it a couple times, and I might play it different rhythmically. I'm not worried about the rhythmic accuracy of it, but I'm just gonna play it a couple times and have you listen to it. So hopefully YouTube can hear me okay. I haven't checked my levels or anything, but I didn't really mess with settings. So and hopefully Instagram can hear me okay. But here's the lo- the thing we're gonna be transposing. So right, so you got that sound in your ear now. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a bird thing. Um, obviously it sounds a lot different on tenor, but something bird might do, or he might do something like he does those quick little bap bap that and then he like kind of does like a lot of you know syncopated stuff after that, and I hear it more on the really fast tunes he does, but he can just rip, right? So what am I doing there? So like how am I transposing this line? Like what if I wanted to play that in a bunch of keys? So first I play it slow, right? And then I want to think about maybe singing it ba 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 ba, and then check it maybe. Right, that was pretty on. I don't have perfect pitch. Um, but then how do I like bring it to the next level? Like, right? Do I want to play that in all 12 keys, and do I want to do that in a relatively short period of time? Yes. The answer is yes. And because you want to get familiar with all the keys, and you want to be, as proficient in one key as all the keys. Like if your favorite key is G, you want to be able to play as well as you play in G in E flat and in D flat and in F sharp, right? Um, so so one way that I've been really like focusing on for a while now is actually getting that template, right? The sound of that ingrained in my ear. So that ba 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 be, right? So I'm getting that template, that sound kind of ingrained in my ear, and I'm using that as my transposition tool. I'm not necessarily thinking about what notes I'm playing. I'm not thinking about like the scale degrees, right? We're going to get into that in a second, but this is just the way these are just some of my thoughts on transposition now as I've, as you build your ear up and as you progress, it takes a lot of brain power to think like about intervals or about specific notes and then transposing. Oh, I'm going up a third. Oh, this note turns into that. That note turns into that takes a lot of time and a lot of brain power. So I'm just trying to give you guys some other tools and think about this. If you guys do have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat or in the Instagram question box. I will get to the questions, I promise, after I talk about this stuff. So, um, with that being said, so I have this template, right? So I have this like whatever you want to think of it as, like an outline in my ear, in my brain, that is this sound, right? Right. So you guys have heard that enough. Now I've played it a bunch of times. You probably can hear if I make a mistake in that same key. Now I'll play it in the same key. This is the key. Now I'll play it and now I'll make a mistake. Right? You heard that mistake. Right? That doesn't sound quite as cool. That doesn't sound like the original. So that's what I mean by the soundscape template, right? Ba ba bo do, yeah. So then what I might do next is I might pick a random note, right? I might just pick. Let me just pick a random note, right? Bum. So then I'm gonna, instead of playing it first, I'm gonna sing it. I'm gonna make sure I have that template in my ear still. Ba 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 do da za 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 zo za. Let's see if I hit that. Right? So that's it. That's the same sound as this. Right? So now what did I do there? Did I transcribe, or excuse me, did I transpose everything individually? No, I kept that sound in my ear, and I transposed it in almost in my ear and in my brain, but I wasn't thinking notes. Like I wasn't thinking this note goes to that note goes to that note. No, I was just thinking about the sound itself. And this takes a while to do. I'm not saying pick up your horns or jump on, you probably on the piano you can see it, but like jump on your instruments and it's going to come naturally. I think this takes a little while, but if you practice this type of transposition every day for 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to get really really good at it. Um thank you so much for all the hearts and the waves. I appreciate you all. um and you're gonna get really good at something like this. You're gonna get really good at transposing in this way. And I think personally, I think this is the most efficient way to transpose, because you're actually training your ear all at the same time. Um, you're not just thinking note to note to note. So um, with that being said, like, that's then the next thing I would do is I would maybe play another note and take it, and it's random, right? So I might play this, right? Right? Da ba da da ba. I gotta go up an octave. I'm not gonna be able to sing that high. It's ba 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 bo ba be da za zo za. Right? So I'm changing different, so I've played it in 3 keys now, and I think I have that soundscape or that sound template, whatever you wanna think of it as. Um, I'm thinking about that as, like, that's my, my canvas, and it's the same everywhere, right? No matter what key I'm in, it's gonna sound the same. Tyler asks, "So it's all about thinking tonality." Um, Maybe. I mean, I don't know how, we might need to get deeper into that discussion. Like, I'm not even thinking about what key I'm in, to be honest with you. I'm just thinking about these sounds and them matching the proper sound, like, infrastructure. I say soundscape, I say sound template, sound infrastructure. It's all just a sound, right? I'm not thinking like, where does this fit? What key is it in? I'm not even thinking that right now. Now eventually you will. And so the next step after, playing it in some random keys and playing it slowly is like, okay, can you start taking in all 12 keys in different ways? Like, can you go up and down a half step? And this is even if you haven't practiced it in these keys yet, but you will have this this sound, whatever you're practicing. And this doesn't have to be this exact lick. It could be three notes. It could be, right? So the beginning of like My Shining Hour, right? You know what that sounds like. Right? So all I'm doing is transposing into different keys a half step away. Back to the original line, right? Um, and we played, this was our original key. Right? That was the original line from that key, from that tonality. So yeah, I guess I'm thinking in a tonality of like it's I'm not necessarily thinking in a key though. So tonality has a lot of different definitions, I guess, but maybe jot down a couple of other things of how I can explain this better. Because I don't know if I'm doing a good job. But the overall arching point is that you have this sound whatever it may be, this line, this melody, this however you want to define it, and the way that you're taking it into different places is you're keeping that original sound in your inner ear, and then you're not thinking about notes. So, um, if you did want to think about notes, melodic cells, melodic fragments, yeah, um, exactly. And if you wanted to think about notes, if you need to think about notes and intervals, right? Like if that's something you need right now, what I'm talking about there, I don't even know if that's an advanced concept or it's just a way my brain works, right? Like this isn't completely original. Some of my teachers have talked about this in the past, and so I'm trying to share it in the way that I think it makes sense to me. Um, but if you wanted to think intervals, then you can or chord tones, you can do that to transcribe, right? Um, right? So if we break that down into actual chord tones and we're on a two chord, that's 7, 5, flat 3, 1, or flat 7. We're talking about minor, so it's 7, 5, 3, 1 in minor, which is a flat 7 and a flat 3. And then we're going to the third of the 5 chord. So I could talk like that all day long, but being able to think like that when chords are going by is not going to be the most effective way for you to improvise, because you won't be able to think that fast as chords are going by. You're not going to be like 7 5 3 1 3, like I can't even sing it that fast. 7 5 3 1 3, and then you just then 1 2 3 5 6 7. I mean, that's not how we're improvising. We're improvising off of what we practice and what our ear is reacting to, right? Where it's spontaneous composition is what improvisation is. So, um, with that being said, you can transpose that way. Right, 7 5 flat 3 7 5 3 1, and 3 of the 5 chord, and then if we want to do that in all the keys, we can. Right? So you can do it like that. Um, and it's an easy way to a formula that you shouldn't make mistakes, because it's a formulaic equation where you're literally transposing each note for note if you number it that way. Um, you can think intervals. That might take even longer. You can think notes. Like you can say, all right, I'm playing right, I'm playing on tenor, I'm playing F, D, B flat, G, E. And so I can say, oh, I want to go up a whole step. So I'm going to be playing G. Like I said, I don't have perfect pitch. G, E, C, A, F sharp. Let's see if I hit that. Right? So you can do it that way too. I'm not saying the way that I am showing you is the only way, the best way. I think it's the way that can closely resemble the way that we are trying to get our what we hear in our head onto our horn. And maybe I should have started with that instead of said that 15 minutes in. So the way that we can practice transposition can also help get what's in our ears, what's in our head out onto our horns most effectively, most efficiently. Like I said before, it's really difficult to um think numbers or notes or intervals when you're improvising. It's a more that would be more of a reactive way to play. Um, which sometimes being reactive in the moment is good, right? If the drummer does something, if the piano comps a certain way or does a chord substitution, you can react, right? But reacting, I'm talking about reacting in a different way. I'm saying like if the chords are coming along and floating along and you're thinking, like notes or you're thinking of like, what do I play over C7? That C7's already gone, right? Or that 2-5 in B flat's gone. It's by the time you think about what to play over it, it's already beyond there. You've already went to the like the minor, the parallel minor or whatever. So that's the over I think that's the overall point is like if you can get this sound in your ear, a specific sound, and like I said, it doesn't have to be a 2-5, it doesn't have to be anything. It can be Tracy writes in the YouTube comments a melodic cell or melody fragment. It can be anything. Your inspiration can come from anywhere. Excuse me. Yeah, let me drink something. And the more you practice this type of kind of creating these melodies and hearing these creating these different templates for yourself, the more familiar are you're going to get with your instrument, especially if you're singing too. The singing is really, really important. Obviously, my singing, it's never that great, but it's not great, especially not great when I'm not feeling well. um, so any questions on this or any questions on anything else that we can chat about? I can do another example if you'd like. Um, that's not like a, you know, arpeggio based or 2-5 based. It can be like I could do that, anything. So, C Young, love your videos and sound, sir. I know you've mentioned that you soak your reeds 24/7. How do you keep them responsive while waterlogged? Okay, yeah, I do. I do keep my reeds soaked all the time. They're right in here. Um, I mean, responsive while waterlogged, I think they actually, in my opinion, like they respond better when like as this reed dries out. This is a little bit thicker of a reed, so I my sound feels like it sounds different to me. Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel like it gives it. I feel like them being soaked actually helps the um like the what am I saying? What am I thinking here? I can't speak today. The the what am I trying to say? Oh my gosh, I can't I can't think of the words. Um I think it helps seal the sealing of the reed like up to the table. So I think that helps with it being really wet. It creates a better seal. And I have a hard time. I don't know about you guys. I have a really hard time playing dry reeds. Like I live in Southern California, so it's already dry here. So maybe just maybe because it's so dry here and these reeds are like soaked, maybe it finds this happy medium. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to test that, test the humidity of my Witt's case and my reed. I'm not sure, but the seal of the reed to the mouthpiece I feel is better. And then I prefer having the top part of my reed, the vibrating part. What's up, Jamie? The vibrating part of my reed, I prefer that to be more moist than dry. I don't know about you, but what do you I guess what do you like to do, C Young? How do you take care of your reeds and what works for you? You know, this is the way I know. I've been doing it for, geez, probably like 2 or 3 years, at least 3 years now, maybe 3, and it's just worked great, so I'm not sure. Good to see your name, I guess, Jamie. But it is good to hear from you. It is really nice to see you, and thanks for the kind words. Um, yeah, this is by far just the best way I found that reads just work for me. One of my students actually said that he started doing this, and he said it's like a game changer. So, I mean, I know a lot of people that do it. It works for them. Some people don't like it at all. So I've just I think for me I prefer this way, and it also saves me a lot of money because reads last, in my opinion, they last a lot longer like this. So I don't spend that much money on it. The case is like is pretty much indestructible. I use my daughter's hair ties now to keep it closed so it doesn't spill. But other than that, like I have to buy that organic clear mouthwash every few months, but that's only like $5 a bottle. So yeah, and it lasts like I only need to use two of them like a year or something like that. So any other questions? Anything anybody else want to hear anything that I talked about or talk about anything else? I'm open to whatever. But um oh, interesting. So C Young says like I soak my reeds too, but he lives in the DC area. So maybe because it's so humid, he said the reed basically turns to mush in the summer. That's weird. So maybe you have to use less liquid in the summer, um, possibly to let them have like I don't know how far you go up your case. Like I go about that's maybe halfway. And so maybe if you go halfway in the winter time, maybe you go like only a quarter of the way in the summer to have more air in there versus liquid. And maybe that'll help. I don't know. It's worth throwing one reed in there and making it an experiment, I guess, if it'll work. But maybe you need to adjust your levels. Luckily, I live in a climate that's like pretty much the same all year. It gets a little cooler in the winter and a little warmer in the summer, but I think the humidity is stays relatively consistent. Wow, we're talking about weather. Pretty cool. um, yeah, any other questions? Any other concerns? Any other whatever, anything. If not, I'll say bye. Oh, okay, so Jamie has something. Jamie says here in Vancouver, it's such a shit show weather-wise. What is he saying? It's cold and wet and really hot in the summer. It's why I moved to the lift cases and blistering water. See, that's what I do. So Jamie and I went to camp together. Met there, and I don't know if he did this. You can tell me, Jamie, if you did it before camp. But but uh, but I love but I think it's great. Arjun, oh my gosh, high school buddy. He probably won't stay on, but man, I thought about you the other day, and just some of the stuff we used to get into. Great drummer growing up. Was one of my buddies growing up. Now he's probably super successful. He's always the smartest dude I know. Anyways, okay, so someone here, Sophia says, "Hey Chris, you have a really sound. Just wondering if you have any tips or exercises for improving intonation, especially in the upper register." Thanks, Tracy. In the upper register, the alto. So I don't play alto. But I think all the horns are pretty much the same. Seamus talks about this a bit, where the higher you go under, the less pressure you should have on mouthpiece if you're using your embouchure. So, Steph's in here too. What's up, Steph? Sorry, I didn't see you. Oh man, it's like high school. This is awesome. I hope to see you guys someday for an actual reunion. But maybe not with like everybody. Maybe just like the band people or some other people. I don't know. Anyways, about the embouchure. So the higher you get, the less pressure, and the less kind of you don't want to pinch it right there, right? Cut your sound off. One way to get a bigger sound up there is to overtones. So you can work on overtones. That really helps, Sophia. Another thing is awareness, right? So I said like keep your what's up? I'm gonna be heading out to Tennessee here Sorry. My friend from high school, Stephanie, is she said hi from Memphis. So I'm actually heading out to Tennessee at the end of the month. So yeah, so I'll be in your state, Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, I'll be in Gatlinburg. Um, Jamie writes in, Alto is so unforgiving. You need a firmer embouchure. Oh, you need a firmer embouchure in Alto. You do. So so I'm giving shit advice right now. I can't speak to Alto. Okay, so what the hell? Yeah. Use your overtone series. I feel I'm a moron here. It's like such a funny. Hey, oh, hey, thank you from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Right on. Nice to see you. So on tenor, I'll speak towards tenor and playing higher. Like you want to keep it open. You want to keep an open throat. You want to keep less pressure on the embouchure. You want to have as little pressure because when he plays up in the altissimo range, he's like basically using no pressure at all. So, with that being said, overtones are the way that I like to try to make my sound in the upper register. I still work on my sound in the upper register because I don't love it up there. I think my mid range and low range I really am happy with, but when I get up into like C and higher, um, I still feel like I want to get a fatter, more consistent sound up there. So I do overtones a lot, and I do different exercises within the overtone system. So um, Jamie writes in that he finds he has to adjust a lot more when he switches from alto to tenor. So like I said, I don't play alto that much, so I don't love to speak on it, and I've already given maybe bad advice, maybe not for alto players. So um, but I would assume that it would carry over from tenor and alto, but I could be wrong. Okay, here's a question, random question. That's what it says. Random question. But do you have any jazz album recommendations to get better at improvising? It's a great question. Not random at all. It's great. Yeah. Oh, Chris Castro. Yeah, you asked some good questions last time, I think. All right. Let me put my horn down. So, yeah, I think it's so with this is a pretty open-ended question, but it depends on what you like, right? If you don't know what you like, then maybe it's based on what you like. Like let's say you really really enjoy um Charlie Parker, right? Or let's say you really enjoy Bebop, but you're like, all right, well, I've listened to Charlie Parker a ton. How about some other alto players that maybe have come from the alto, like the Bird school, and maybe you start checking out someone like Phil Woods or Sonny Stitt, right? Like Sonny Stitt and Bird were definitely around at the same time, but Stitt lived a lot longer, and Stitt, you know, kind of came up and became more known after Bird passed. Excuse me. But maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, oh, I really want to dig into Cannonball. Like I don't know why I'm picking alto players, but I maybe I get alto on my mind. So um so maybe you're like, I want to check out Cannonball. So some people like to start from the earliest album, like if you pick Cannonball, some people might start. I have a friend Dan who starts from like the earliest album he could find from a specific player and literally goes through like each album to see how the person's playing progressed over the years. Now, if you did this with Miles Davis, you can pick a non-saxophone player, right? Miles Davis is a great example. I've been transcribing a lot of Miles because uh, well, one because my teacher wants me to, and two because he has such a great time feel and rhythmic uh, sense that is just like amazing. And he plays a lot of things that he plays isn't that difficult. Um, but it's so beautiful where he lays everything down in the beat. Um, so if you listen to Miles like play with Bird, right? When young Miles, like 18, 19 years old, he's playing with Bird and he's playing bebop, and then you see him progress through the years, and you see him playing with Bird, and then you see him kind of go off on his own. and then you start seeing where he goes, like, in the 60s and 70s, and he goes into, like, more fusion type stuff. So if you listen to someone like that from where they started to where they ended up, you can see how they're figuring out what their sound concept and stylistic, like, decisions happen. Um, so I think it depends on what you're into and what you wanna listen for. So I just started digging into, one album I'll just mention, Mode for Joe Henderson, right? I started digging into that album a little bit because I love Joe Henderson, and I need to listen to him more, but I haven't, and so I'm like, I'm gonna just really listen to this album. Hey, Amy. Hey, Tracy. Um, so I'm gonna really dig into this album and see what happens, and see what I can get from it, and maybe steal a couple little things and really listen to all of the players on there. There's, like, amazing players on there, like, I think, who's on that? Lee Morgan's on there, Curtis Fuller, Bobby Hutcherson, I think Paul Chambers plays on that album, Cedar Walton. Who's the drummer on there? Probably Probably Joe. I don't know who's the drummer on that. Anybody know? Um, but, yeah, I mean, so it all depends, like, on what you're going for. I think any album you check out and dive deep into is gonna help you with improvising. Guaranteed. If you listen to what the drummer's doing on every track, if you listen to, like, how the bass player is laying down quarter notes or how he's laying down bass lines, if you listen to the piano comping, if you really, really listen to it, not just Bird or not just Dexter or not just Miles or Chris Potter or you name it, Roy Hargrove, whoever, if you really listen to, um, every single aspect of that album, you will learn from it big time, and you will get better at improvising, even if you're just listening to drummers. That will maybe solidify your groove, right? Maybe solidify your time feel. It maybe makes sense why Joe Henderson's playing the way he's playing. Um, so that's my answer to that question. I hope that helps, Chris. Great name, by the way. And yeah, I hope that answers your question. Great. Um, okay, looks like we're winding down a bit. If you have any other questions, please feel free. I'll hang out for a sec here, and if not, I will see you next week. Hopefully not stuffed up, um, and more energy. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. My energy level is always like just kind of pretty mellow, but all right. All right, everybody. I will see you next week. I apologize about not getting on YouTube last week, but I did get on Instagram for a little bit. Um, Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, appreciate you all. All right. Until next time, always positive, always progressing. I appreciate you all. I will not let this, whatever's going on, keep me down and keep me trying to put some stuff out. I know it's been a while since I've had put content out, but I'm really trying to get some other stuff in order um, before I really dive back into like making stuff. I just can't wrap my head around it right now. Thank you from Brazil. Thank you so much. Tracy, thank you as always. Tyler, everybody on YouTube, appreciate you. Everybody on Instagram, appreciate you. All right, later.